Regarding George Clooney's divorce, Brad Pitt recently made a shocking revelation. What Hollywood portrayed is far from reality. Cracks were beginning to appear beneath the surface of the glitzy red carpets and expensive vacations. Things that not even Clooney's charisma could alter. Behind closed doors, emotions were rising, aspirations were at odds, and the truth was not revealed. Pitt, though, is finally revealing the truth about what went wrong. And what he has revealed is very shocking. Everything will fall into place after you hear what he said, so be sure to stay tuned. Love stories in Hollywood are never truly romantic. Careful staging for the cameras characterizes these extravagant performances. The appearance of flawlessness is maintained with each meticulously staged interview, each smiling red carpet participant, and each promenade through Venice held by a couple. This ideal was personified by the marriage of George Clooney and Amal Al-Muddin, a symbol of grace and refinement. The illusion, however, vanished the moment word of their divorce spread. The crowd went wild. The relationship was scrutinized by tabloids, who speculated about every detail. Next followed the surprising turn of events. Hollywood heavyweight Brad Pitt chose to reveal some secrets from behind the scenes. What about his confession? It wasn't like there had been rumors of timetable conflicts or fundamental disagreements. Pitt, on the other hand, dropped hints about something much more controversial, something that would cast doubt on the veracity of Clooney and his apparently idyllic marriage. The golden couple of Hollywood might have been concealing a reality drastically different from the idealized image they presented, if Pitt's accusations are accurate. Was their romance nothing more than a carefully staged facade, or were they really the world's most admired power couple? Hollywood is going to be rocked to its very foundation by the reality behind this disintegrating marriage, so let's go back to the beginning before we dive into Pitt's shocking disclosure. The globe was enthralled the moment Amal Al-Muddin and George Clooney made their first public appearance together in 2013. A charming human rights lawyer whose elegance and intelligence appeared equally at home on the red carpet and in courtrooms had captured the heart of the silver-haired Hollywood bachelor, who had a reputation for being reluctant to settle down. Their courtship was like something out of a contemporary fairy tale, fusing the glitz of Hollywood with the seriousness of international law. They were already a legendary couple. It was all very Hollywood at the celebration in Venice. With George beaming beside her, Amal wowed an Oscar de la Renta. The $4.6 million bash exuded an air of refined elegance as 100 invited guests were whisked away to various extravagant locations. They were quite successful as a power couple. Amal took on high-profile legal challenges, while George ruled Hollywood with hits like Gravity. Their steadfast backing and effortless combination of celebrity and status were evident in every setting. Every one of their public appearances was flawless. Their presence at the Met Gala exuded an aura of timeless sophistication. Intelligence and poise were qualities they displayed in human rights conferences. They managed to maintain an air of respectful silliness and light-hearted romance in their interviews. Amal quietly recognized their partnership, while George frequently joked about getting married. Their obvious attraction caused a social media frenzy about ideal relationships, and even experts in the field of body language agreed that their connection was real and profound. Their union, however, was about more than simply social status, it was also about sharing a common goal. They pooled their resources and established the Clooney Foundation for Justice, which has funded human rights initiatives around the world. George utilized his fame to draw attention to humanitarian situations like Darfur, and Amal spoke for Yazidi victims of the crimes committed by ISIS. Hosting fundraisers at their estate on Lake Como, their charitable endeavors skillfully combined star-studded parties with serious campaigning, erasing the boundaries between Hollywood and humanitarian activity. Their combined efforts, which ranged from funding racial justice programs in the United States to aiding victims of the Lebanese Civil War, demonstrated their dedication to creating a positive impact. However, small fissures were starting to appear under the meticulously crafted facade of flawlessness. They welcomed twins Ella and Alexander into the world in June of 2017, and their lives were never the same. No amount of privilege could spare them the universal difficulties of being a first-time parent, even though their enormous riches provided them with every convenience imaginable. George joked about being an old parent and openly confessed that becoming a dad was overwhelming at the age of 56. Both were juggling a heavy workload at work and preparing to become parents at the same time. George had to be on the road all the time for his Hollywood engagements, and Amal was in the thick of crucial court battles. At first glance, they appeared to have no trouble juggling the responsibilities of home and work. They work around each other's schedules and divide their time between several lavish homes. Their high-powered lifestyles could be sustained across continents thanks to private jets, which became their lifeline. A picture of equilibrium emerged from the interviews. Amal was effusive in her appreciation of George's intelligence, and he was equally effusive in his admiration of her steadfast support. Unfortunately, the juggling act was exhausting. Symbolic of their wealth and a constant reminder of the complexity of their life were their opulent mansions that stretched over Lake Como, the English countryside, Los Angeles, and Manhattan. Stability was difficult to attain due to the continual motion. There were hints of tension in the fairy tale. While George skipped out on important UN duties and Amal was noticeably absent from major Hollywood events. Due to work and scheduling conflicts, their once regular Italian date nights became less common. The change was picked up by the watchful supporters. They went from having an easygoing connection to having to work harder to keep it going, as the light-hearted intimacy of their public appearances gave place to more formal encounters. Here comes Brad Pitt, a Hollywood confidant and old friend of George's. The Ocean's 11 era had been the center of incessant media attention. But Pitt became an unexpected critic when allegations of Clooney's marriage issues surfaced. Pitt, who has been through his own famous divorce, provided insight into the stresses that high-profile couples in Hollywood encounter. The glossy magazine spreads, in Pitt's view, never presented the complete picture. Functioned at a completely different tempo than George's film set and award circuit business. George enjoyed being with people, while Amal was more comfortable with routine and predictability. Their marriage became a long-distance relationship due to the long periods apart, which was difficult for even the most resilient couples to manage. Moreover, the media's incessant investigation was another factor. The suspicion began with every pose on the red carpet, every appearance that was missed, and every moment of tiredness that the paparazzi captured. Pitt spared no detail. The actual obstacle was Hollywood. Keeping a real connection alive in a world when everyone is so concerned with their appearance is next to impossible. Notoriety amplifies imperfections, escalating minor disagreements into major crises. The Clooneys were not immune to the stress that comes from trying to balance parenthood with career aspirations. They were much more divided after parenthood. George struggled with being a father and with being spontaneous, while Amal yearned for security. No couple is immune to the stress that comes with a public marriage, even the most famous ones have to make huge sacrifices. Brad Pitt did praise Clooney for one thing, though, the grace with which he dealt with the aftermath. George continued to keep silent even as rumors of their breakup spread. In an exclusive interview, he spoke highly of his time spent with Amal and reaffirmed their dedication to co-parenting. The ability to remain composed in tense situations was on full display. Strikingly different from the infamously explosive splits in Hollywood. Finally, their narrative was a sobering reminder that no relationship is flawless and that real-life problems are bound to arise. Even though they were held in high esteem by the world, George and Amal were simply ordinary individuals attempting to balance love, family, and ambition under the relentless scrutiny of celebrity. Not as many people are familiar with George Clooney as Brad Pitt. Over the course of 20 years, they have become close friends through working together on set, sharing inside jokes, and talking late into the night about life outside of Hollywood. One of George's closest confidants, Brad and George have a friendship that has endured the test of fame. Over time, though, Brad noticed a change in his friend, one that the cameras couldn't pick up on. Starting in 2001 on the set of Ocean's 11, their relationship swiftly became legendary in Hollywood thanks to their easygoing banter and humorous antics. Outside of the spotlight, they had more in common than simply a familiarity with the business. Love, ambition, and juggling the needs of fame with one's own happiness were topics of conversation. From being the most eligible bachelor in the world to being a loving husband and father, Brad witnessed George's transition firsthand. Amal Alamuddin was a successful human rights lawyer, and George's marriage to her seemed like a Hollywood dream for a long time. The gorgeous Hollywood celebrity and accomplished lawyer, dividing their time between the cities of London, Lake Como, and Los Angeles. Subtle shifts, meanwhile, were becoming apparent to Brad behind the meticulously maintained public persona. Brad saw that during private events at George's villa in Italy, the couple's chats were more stuffy and their natural chemistry morphed into something more regimented. Once upon a time, their relationship was defined by fun teasing, but now it seems like they're acting. Instead of savoring the companionship of one another. It was easy for Brad to brush it off as a married couple's inevitable development, but as time went on, the warning flags grew more apparent. It was over a weekend at Brad's French chateau that the first genuine worry began. A seemingly insignificant detail, George and Amal's separate arrivals, said it all. Like two faraway stars in separate orbits, they whirled around one another. Something unspoken dampened the warmth, yet it was still present. Had witnessed the gradual disintegration of his own marriage to Angelina Jolie, and identified the trend. Looking back, everything was clear, Brad pondered. At first, it wasn't. How their priorities gradually began to drive them in opposite directions, and how they began to make distinct goals. More cases in Europe were taken on by Amal. Anyone else would never be someone I wanted to be with. Stays in Los Angeles were prolonged by George. Their formerly flawless synchronicity began to diminish. While caring for his friend, Brad was also aware of the demands that come with fame and fortune. The way the world expected a show, transforming intimate moments into a public spectacle, was something he was all too familiar with. Dinner after dinner became a news story, and every choice was scrutinized. It alters your character, Brad conceded. It alters the dynamic between you. You begin to prioritize the approval of the onlookers over your own needs. It wasn't simply their hectic schedules or the pressures of celebrity that were causing rumblings in George's marriage. Someone had managed to grab George's attention, and Brad happened to be there as it unfolded. There were others who shared his observation. Something more profound and unexpected was suggested by the change in George's manner and the way his attention appeared to wander. George Clooney was captivated by an enigmatic figure. Who was it? How will that affect his marriage going forward? Do not leave just yet, you will be astounded by this disclosure. Hollywood friendships are as solid as a bomb at the box office. Passed away tomorrow. As soon as the cameras stop filming, the red carpet smiles, over-the-top acceptance speeches, and pledges of eternal devotion usually disappear. When priorities diverge and time constraints become an issue, a best buddy who was there 1 year becomes a distant memory the following. Nonetheless, George Clooney and Julia Roberts' success is a miracle. Their friendship has stood the test of time, surpassing star-crossed romances and ephemeral partnerships in Hollywood for more than 20 years. Though the majority of on-screen friendships end the second the director says, cut. The strength of theirs has only increased. In the year 2000, it all began on the set of the A-list picture Ocean's 11. You'd think that two A-listers like Clooney and Roberts would play it cool and avoid each other like the plague. They clicked right away, though. Yes, from a platonic perspective. They had an easy rapport that blossomed into a decades-long working relationship, which Clooney, who is usually ready with a witty soundbite, joked about. Their clever banter, which is equal parts charisma and sarcasm, has been a staple of many of their efforts, including Ocean's 12, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Money Monster, and Ticket to Paradise. Some say it's pure chemistry, while others think it's just two A-listers trying to make a quick buck off of a simple recipe. It was effective in any case. They became more than just a movie team because audiences believed in their chemistry. They continued the friendship they had off-screen. I guess it explains why we're pals. However, their bond is maintained by more than simply their on-screen interactions. It's the real camaraderie, the inside jokes, and the never-ending pranks. Roberts, who has never shied away from a good on-set prank war, was no match for Clooney, Hollywood's self-proclaimed king of practical jokes. As a result of their playful pranks, many members of the cast and crew have been injured or even killed. What does it mean when friends do this? For fun or as a means to endure the monotony of the long days spent filming? In any case, it continues to garner attention. After years of claiming he was a lifelong bachelor, Clooney startled fans in 2014 by shocking everyone by marrying human rights lawyer Amal Alamuddin. His prior carefree, globetrotting lifestyle had taken a dramatic turn by 2017, when he became a father to twins. Roberts has seen the ups and downs of celebrity firsthand, riding the waves of critical praise and occasional career setbacks. After all, not every film has to have a beautiful woman. Clooney was always there to support her, whether it was praising her abilities, her sense of humor, or whatever comment would make for a nice headline. Roberts has maintained their status as Hollywood's most adored platonic duo by often referring to him as her favorite co-star. That individual needs to be located, in my opinion. Hollywood loves its drama, and not even the closest of friendships can escape it. Not long after Clooney's marriage troubles reports started circulating, Roberts' name was dragged into the speculation as well. Has she spoken up about the alleged problems in her marriage? Had she become a target of rumors? Is it possible that the rumor mill in Hollywood is merely making something up? It doesn't matter if the truth or fiction is true. What does matter is that the entertainment industry will never stop seeking scandal, and Clooney and Roberts' friendship is no exception. The rarity of their friendship in an industry characterized by intense competition makes it all the more extraordinary. Actors in Hollywood have never been known to support one another. Most of the time, they're competing for the same jobs, accolades, and ranking. To tell you the truth, Julia and her family are like family to them. However, this pitfall has been mostly sidestepped by Clooney and Roberts. Their professional journeys diverge in ways that seldom cross paths. Although her jobs have changed throughout the years, Clooney has maintained her status as Hollywood's dashing leading man, and Roberts has maintained her status as America's love. Because they aren't in direct competition with one another, they probably haven't developed the animosity and envy that may damage a long-term Hollywood romance. Even so, the public has taken notice of their bond. People unfairly compare Clooney's transition into family life with Roberts' more private approach to motherhood, which makes it hard to understand how they manage their personal and professional lives. Pitting men and women against one another based on unreasonable expectations, it's a tiring and antiquated story. Despite everything that has happened, Clooney and Roberts have avoided the traps that plague other friendships in Hollywood. Their relationship is based on more than only reminiscence. It's an efficient advertising system. Their renowned off-screen camaraderie is marketed in every film in which they star together. The plot isn't the only reason people go to the movies. They're believing in the tale of the golden couple who, despite everything, have managed to stay unscathed by the mayhem in Hollywood. They share more than simply a camaraderie in their friendship. A brand it is. And that is probably the most important reason why their friendship has lasted for more than 20 years in a field where reputation is everything. However, the question remains. Has their friendship transformed into a highly manicured Hollywood brand, or is it a true bond? Please continue watching since the solution may alter your entire worldview. The two seemingly incompatible lives of a Hollywood star. With her brilliant grin, Julia Roberts has been one of Hollywood's most admired stars and America's sweetheart for a long time. But beneath her seemingly effortless charisma is a lady who has learned to thrive for decades at a time when longevity is so rare in her field. George Clooney, another A-lister whose friendship with Julia has endured the ebb and flow of Hollywood over the years, has been by her side in more ways than one. The intimacy between them. Built on more than simply red carpet appearances and scripted sound bits, the celebrity alliance that formed on the 2001 set of Ocean's 11 is deeper than that. The chemistry between Clooney and Roberts goes well beyond their film roles. They are one of the cutest couples in Hollywood thanks to their witty one-liners, natural conversational skills, and capacity to make fun of the ridiculousness of celebrity. Their friendship has only gotten stronger over the years, unlike many others in the profession. Even though Julia was born and nurtured in a culture where storytelling was natural, she was only a girl from Smyrna, Georgia, who could command $20 million per picture before she became famous. She was born into a theatrical family in 1967 to Betty Lou and Walter Roberts, who were both actors. The Atlanta Actors and Writers Workshop, which her parents ran, fostered the development of imaginative minds. Therefore, Julia's ambitions to become a Hollywood star were not unexpected. It took time for her to rise to fame. Julia eventually made her big break with Pretty Woman in 1990, following a dismal 1987 television debut in Crime Story and an equally awful 1988 picture, Satisfaction. She shot to fame after starring in the film, which reimagined the classic Cinderella tale with a beautiful escort and a rich businessman. The part wasn't really groundbreaking, but her charisma and enthusiasm were contagious, and viewers couldn't get enough of her. In addition to her acting career, Julia Roberts had become a cultural icon. In the following 10 years, she firmly established herself as the leading lady of romantic comedies with critically acclaimed films including Notting Hill, 1999, and My Best Friend's Wedding, 1997. However, it was her 2000 film Erin Brockovich that established her as more than simply a romantic comedy star. Her performances were so impressive that they may have won her an Oscar. She gained new recognition in Hollywood and an Oscar for the role. George Clooney and she crossed paths at about this same time. Clooney went from being a famous emergency room doctor to a full-fledged Hollywood star by 2001. Their debut film together, Ocean's 11, was more than just a highlight of their careers. The two would go on to become one of the longest-lasting friendships in Hollywood. Almost immediately, we were fast friends. Their on-screen chemistry, rather than the plot, was the driving force behind their 2016 picture Money Monster and 2022 picture Ticket to Paradise, in which they reunited for Ocean's 12. Because of their shared knowledge of the game, their friendship has flourished. Even though Hollywood is full of relationships that come and go, Clooney and Roberts have managed to remain firmly planted in a world that is always trying to tear them apart. They take pleasure in their notoriety by teasing each other at award presentations, interviewing each other, and pulling off infamous pranks that have entered Hollywood mythology. But there's more going on than just the jokes. The capacity to keep their sense of normalcy in the face of an otherwise weird world, along with mutual respect and an understanding of what it takes to be at the top of their field, forms the basis of their connection. When it concerns his personal relationships, Julia is one of the few people with whom Clooney feels comfortable enough to disclose the ups and downs of his life. The subject of George's romantic relationships was hotly debated for a long time. With all those discussions, debates, and hidden agendas, he was known as Hollywood's most dedicated bachelor before Amal Al-Muddin came along. The investigation, however, persisted long after things calmed down. Never one to stoke tensions, Julia maintained her conciliatory demeanor. However, individuals were still able to decipher the hidden meaning. The tabloids devoured and examined every comment she made, regardless of how innocuous, as long as it was extremely related to those four individuals. Julia, on the other hand, has kept her private life under wraps. She wed cameraman Daniel Moder in 2002, and the couple has 3 kids between the two of them. She has succeeded, in contrast to many of her Hollywood contemporaries, in keeping her personal life secret. Private. A life that my husband and I have created for ourselves and our children. She is still busy with projects like Leave the World Behind and narrating Lisa Marie Presley's memoir, but her focus is now squarely on her family rather than her fame. Even if Clooney's personal life is stable, her ties continue to generate news. In a field where bonds between people are sometimes broken, their unusually strong friendship has endured. They've kept it authentic through the highs and lows of their careers. Recently, though, a slight tension has surfaced. Some think their relationship has changed because of George's changing life, while others talk behind George's back about an unspoken change. Something has changed, but neither Julia nor George have mentioned anything. After Brad Pitt's confession, what are your thoughts on the matter? Has George and Julia discovered anything new, or is their romance just a ploy to remain popular? Leave a comment with your ideas. Additionally, please subscribe and like the video.